Hello survivors, welcome to another video, and we have had some characters released, or the information of characters released onto the forums by Shane, and these are winter edition characters. No idea what these are about, whether they're going to be premium characters or whether they are going to be event characters. However, the winter edition last year was of course an event, and I assume there's going to be a winter event this year as well. It is 5 new characters. I'm just going to be looking at the 6 stars. I will make a link in the description to take you to the poster if you want to look at the 5 stars as well. But we're just going to be taking a look at the 5 stars. I haven't really looked at them too much, so we're going to be looking at them together for the first time, basically. First up, we have Shiva, and this is maxed out Shiva. Just in terms of the looks, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I think Mama Deadhead was saying that, you know, all she wants for Christmas is Shiva in a Santa outfit. So I think Mama Deadhead's going to be pretty happy with this. Looking at the Adrenaline Rush first, we do have 76 AP, so it's not super fast, but you will be able to get a second turn command rush on attack as long as you've got 1 huge and 1 very large, either from lead and weapon. You have to have one. You have to have it on both, but you know, weapon or lead as long as one of those is huge and one of those is very large, you'll be able to get a second turn command rush. You have got Shiva's claws attached to Shiva. We don't know the stats on those, but generally I think Shiva's claws are generally 30-30 in terms of defense and attack. I would assume the same, but we won't know that until they're in the game. Looking at the rush, those deals 475 main damage, taunt, and minus 60% attack for 1 turn to 3 enemies. This character gains 50% bonus HP. The rush alone is really strong in terms of just being able to lock characters in. It's not going to go off too often, especially on defense, but I think it's pretty nice. She also has Indomitable as a specialist skill, so that taunt isn't going to do much. Even if you're taunting like maxed out 6 stars, it's gonna just that she's not going to take much damage because of this. Basically, minus 60% damage, and then Indomitable on top, and then bonus HP. She's going to tank those three hits pretty easily. It is only 1 turn. That's the big downside. I would have preferred it personally. If I got her, I would prefer it to be only 2 people, but for 2 turns, or you know, 1 person for 3 turns or something like that. You know, I think 1 turn, it's just not going to go off enough, and I don't know. I think that's just the only downside to it. That it is 1 turn. Her stats are pretty decent. She is very much a tank, very low damage. So the stats on her claws could represent that tankiness. She could have HP and defense, for instance, instead of attack and defense. But she's got nearly 1900 HP. I think she's got one of the highest HP stats, which is really nice. And as I said before, she's got specialist skill Indomitable, which is every time you get attacked, you get 30% bonus defense. So she's going to stack defense like mad because she's going to get attacked 3 times from this taunt. And then if anyone attacks her afterwards, she's already got an extra 90% defense. So she's going to be at like, you know, nearly 3,000 defense, which is just ridiculous. She's going to be taking barely any damage at all. But next up we have Jesus. And I didn't mention, but Shiva didn't have a leader skill. But next up we have Jesus, and he is, I'd probably say, a really nice character from what I've seen. Like, I would be very happy to get my hands on this guy, especially on my region where I have mainly a melee team. He is a fast character, and he has 66 AP, which means he gets a second turn rush command on attack quite easily compared to 76 AR, just because you know you don't need as much. It's as simple as that. You can have a very large lead, and you can have very large weapon, and it's much harder to have very large leads with 6-star characters. A lot of them just have stat boosts like Mirabelle, Carl, that sort of stuff. But his rush is pretty nice. He confuses and minus 60% defense for 1 turn to 2 enemies. Now it is again only 1 turn, but the minus 60% defense, basically if you have any other characters that have multi-hits, or if you want to take down a tanky character, you rush with this guy first, and that guy, whoever he's rushed against, even if it's that Shiva that we just saw with Indomitable, they're gonna get melted because their defense is gonna be so low. I really like this character. We'll look across to his leader skill, which is all fast characters gain a huge bonus to AP when attacking. All teammates get 40% attack against ranged characters. So he's like a semi... It is kind of strange. He has like a semi-rainbow lead with all teammates get 40% attack against ranged characters, but he is only fast characters gain huge bonus when attacking. Now the only fast characters get a bonus when attacking is the same as Barker, I believe. But Barker gives crit, whereas this guy gives 40% attack against ranged characters. I don't like his leader skill too much. I don't think that's the main draw. I don't think it's going to be too useful. Maybe it might be useful in some SR stages, perhaps. Like, I can think if you came up against the Tyrese team, that'd be pretty nice against the Tyrese team. Just because you'd have an extra 40% attack and you'd have, you know, huge AP on when attacking. His active skill, I didn't look at Shiva's active skill, we'll go back to that. But his active skill is remove defense bonus, so it'll be like any defense buffs, you know. I'm not I don't think it would change bonus HP, but it will definitely remove defense buffs or anything that, you know, stops you from doing as much damage. It might remove elusive. And that would make sense. We'll just go back and look at Shiva again. She's got a self heal, so it'll be very much like 6-star Abraham, who's got a self heal as well. Next up, we've got Ezekiel, who is a tough character. He has a 66 AP rush, which is deal 400% damage and stun for 1 turn to up to 2 enemies. So not too bad. Not too bad. It's a two enemy stun, a bit of damage. I don't think this is super. It's a little less, lesser version of Mirabelle's rush, basically. But it is going to go off more often just because it's 66 AP. So that's quite nice. He has got execution. I think he's one of the very first execution 6 stars. I'm not 100% certain there. And his active skill is focus, which I guess is useful, but it isn't really a shield meta at the moment, so focus is generally good against shields. I think maybe focus can be used against confuse as well, so I'm not 100% sure. But his stats are pretty decent. He's got nearly 2k damage and nearly, 1,750 HP. His defense is on the low side, but it's not too bad. He is seen as a damage dealer, and I'd probably say he lives up to that. A lot of tough characters seem to be very good, and of course he can have the double attack weapon that we got, if you got it, in the recent event. So he could be pretty lethal. Going up to the next character is going to be Richard, and we have an alert character. So we have one of each trait so far. We do get another character to come, but we have one of each trait so far, which is nice. A nice little spread. The rush is 76 AP, deals 600% damage to 1 enemy. So that's a lot of damage to 1 enemy, and up to 2 enemies get 50% heal reduction for 2 turns. Now the way that's worded, it's worded exactly the same as the 6-star Shiva that's already in the game's rush, where if he kills somebody with that 600 damage to 1 enemy, he'll still give 2 enemies 50% heal reduction. So it isn't just the person he attacks. It's if he kills that enemy, it's 2 others. If he doesn't kill that enemy, it will be the enemy that he attacks and then 1 other. If that makes sense. It works exactly the same as Shiva's rush by what I'm reading. Specialist skill is Waste Not, and this could be really useful, particularly on a 6-star, because what happens with Waste Not is, especially with a high percentage rush, you rush one character and say that character's got 2,000 HP and your rush does, 3,200. Okay, you'll do 2,000 HP to the person who you rushed, and then the 1,200 that's left over will continue on to someone else. And this guy has got a lot of damage. 2,000 damage, 600%. He's doing 12,000 damage on a rush. So that Waste Not is going to happen. It's not like the 5-star Glenn that we received, where his damage was so low that Waste Not was never really going to come into use, in my opinion. Whereas on this guy, if his rush goes off, it's the end of days, basically, for at least 1 guy, maybe 2. Like, I can't see someone being able to survive this unless they've got huge amounts of defense and HP. Even then, he's just going to be doing so much damage. It's going to be ridiculous. 12,000 damage on his rush. And then after that, obviously, you're going to be doing reductions based on the defense. But most people won't be able to defend that high. He'll be still doing over, 2,000 damage. So he's going to be amazing. He only has Focus Self, compared to, I think it was Ezekiel, who had focus for everybody. Again, we're not really in that meta of shield, so it's not so important. But in the future, it could be more important. His rush is a little bit slow. His stats are actually pretty decent. I think his stats are pretty decent. And the last character is going to be Michonne, which is another fast character. The rush isn't too bad, 66 AP, 300% damage, and minus 20 AP to up to 2 enemies. Up to 2 teammates gain 20% AP. I think this is the first character that we've had that does minus AP in the 6 stars. I'm not 100% certain. I think it is. Leader skill, all teammates get 40% attack and a huge bonus to AP when... all melee teammates get 40% attack and a huge bonus to AP when taking damage. If that was a huge bonus to AP when attacking, this would actually be really nice. This would be really nice. But the taking damage is really not favoured at all as a leader skill. Who knows? It could come into being used because the stats of 6 stars are so high. They're generally going to survive a lot longer, and there aren't that many neutralized 6 stars. I think we've got Governor in the pipeline, and I think Victor is the only one that's been released. So you would generally have to roll out 5 stars to be able to combat AP on when taking damage, and it's generally neutralized that can do that. Obviously, Impair works as well, but that would works either way, so it's not that big a deal. I don't think this character is amazing, but it's not too bad. The minus AP, I mean, it really depends how it works in terms of... I've never really been a fan of minus AP. I haven't really ever had a character that I've used, so I mean, some people could probably love it. We'll have to see. Now, these are the 5 characters that have been shared on the forums, but we have also had another character, which was Christmas Rick, who I'm going to be almost certain is going to be in this batch. And the reason Kalishane put these onto the forums is just basically to get ahead of the leaks that happen on VK on the VK website, in terms of just trying to release the early info themselves. Scopely just trying to release this info themselves. Now, some of these things are going to maybe be changed, but who knows? I mean, it's down to some responses. It's down to whether they realize maybe a stat's a bit too high. I think obviously the standout one for me is Richard. I did recently get a lot of stun guns on one of my regions, and if I got Richard on that region, oh my god, it would be great. That waste knot in conjunction with his damage stat, in conjunction with his rush, is going to be pretty sick. You're going to want an AP lead though if you take that guy, just so you can... I mean, can you imagine commanding that guy turn 2? He could potentially take down 2 characters. He's always going to take down 1 basically, but he could potentially take down 2. Carl teams are going to be absolutely torn apart by this guy. This rush is going to hurt a lot against Carl and against Shiva. So this is very good for those sort of teams. But these are just some little releases. These are going to be in the game supposedly within the next 48 to 72 hours. Whether they're going to actually, the information is going to be released in the game, they could just be loaded up into the game and then just waited, when the winter event is actually underway. But it looks pretty interesting. I hope that these characters, at least 1 or 2 of these characters, are going to be available via free-to-play events. If it's all of them and they're all on a wheel, and we have to work hard to get them, that's great. I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't think there are any other Premier characters that are slated over the Christmas period, so we're probably going to have at least 1 of these characters, maybe 2. We have got 1 of each trait, and then we've got a couple of extras. I think the Christmas Rick is alert as well. But that's the end of this video. I thought I'd just bring you the information. Some of you guys don't always read the forums. What do you guys think? Which character stands out the most? Which one would you want to get your hands on? For me, it's probably the Richards I like the most. But I wouldn't really mind the Jesus. I wouldn't mind any of them. I think that Shiva looks amazing. But the Richard really would do great on my stun gun team. Just not even joking how good that guy would be on my stun gun team. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Keep on surviving. Keep on surviving.